All right, sports fans, how's everybody out there doing? William Martin coming at you one more time here on YouTube with another edition of the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast. Now, the Atlantic Coast Conference Tournament is set to commence this Tuesday afternoon at the Barclays Center in Brooklyn. And for one of college basketball's marquee conferences, it's been a down year for the ACC as Duke and North Carolina will take the floor for this tournament as the only ranked teams in the ACC currently in the Associated Press poll. Now, for the Pitt Panthers and Boston College Eagles, they're going to get things started on Tuesday afternoon in the ACC tournament in the 12-13 matchup. And for the loser, their season is going to be over. While for the winner, they will go to play one more game as they will have to deal with a fresh Wake Forest team to finish fifth in the ACC on Wednesday afternoon. And when it's all said and done, this is a far cry from the way that things used to be for both Pitt and Boston College. And I say that because there was a time when both Pitt and BC would be getting ready right about now to take the floor at Madison Square Garden for the Big East tournament right across the East River. But those days are a distant memory. Of course, Boston College left the Big East for the ACC in 2005, while Pitt followed suit in 2013. Now, obviously, these were football moves, as both schools were looking for a bigger payout from the ACC, which they've gotten, but they've also sacrificed their prowess on the hardwood in the process. And since joining the ACC, BC has never won a regular season title or conference tournament in men's basketball. While their last NCAA tournament appearance, you got to go all the way back to 2009 when Al Skinner was still the head coach for Boston College. Now, Earl Grant is a third different head coach for Boston College in as many years, and that sums up the struggles of for the Eagles while they've only had one winning season in the last 11 years. Now, don't get me wrong, BC was never a juggernaut in regards to getting high school basketball recruits to come to Chestnut Hill. But for the most part, they always made their living and getting kids from the Northeast area to stay in that region and play for Boston College. And the same can be said for Pitt, who, after being one of the upper echelon teams for the Big East, first under Ben Howland and then under Jamie Dixon, they've now sunken into the abyss in the ACC. Pitt has not made the tournament since Dixon left Pitt in 2016 in favor of his alma mater at TCU, as they have struggled mightily in the ACC. And of course, the last 4 years with Jeff Capel running the show. Now, under Capel, he is not finished with a winning record at Pitt. And you have to wonder if the former Duke guard is running out of time with the Panthers. Now, under Holland and Dixon, Pitt knew how to recruit the New York City and New Jersey area, as playing in the Big East helped them. And, Pitt always, in those days, they always had some gritty kids from the New York City and New Jersey area that really fit into their program, and the success definitely followed. And right now, in watching both Pitt and BC in the ACC, each one of them, they're like a fish out of water. Now, the Panthers are the reigning ACC champions in football, as they've continued to recruit the football pipeline that is Western PA. And of course, Pitt, football wise, has to contend with Ohio State, Penn State, and Michigan from the Big Ten, of course, the likes of Notre Dame as well. But still, there's so much talent there, and Pitt does have a long storied history on the gridiron. They're able to still get quality talent, but they're rolling snake eyes in men's basketball. And in regards to BC, after they had initial success in football in the ACC, which included a pair of conference title game appearances in 2007 and 2008, they've never won more than 7 games in any year on the gridiron since. Now, we all know this. It was all about the money for all of these schools to leave respective conferences. And of course, Pitt and BC and Syracuse and so many other teams. And it's not just teams leaving the Big East for the ACC. It's all around college sports, but it was all about the money. But just talking about it here with Pitt and BC, was it really worth it for them to jump ship in favor of the ACC? Because yeah, they got more money. They would have gotten money if they stayed in the Big East. But the thing is, school presidents, they're always going to look for the top dollar, and they don't care where their program athletic program is going to go. They're just going to go to the conference that's going to provide it. But at the end of the day, Pitt was more known for basketball. BC was respectable in basketball, and they're not getting it done right now. You're looking at this 15-team conference, and BC is the most northern school in the ACC. Pitt has to travel a lot more to play all of their games. In every sport, and just focusing on basketball right here, it just ain't working. And you look at it, Jeff Capel's probably going to be done after this season. I would be highly surprised if he comes back for Pitt. But what do you do? You don't have a system in place right now. You don't have anything. The last two coaches that Pitt has had, first Kevin Stallings and now Jeff Capel, they don't relate to the Pitt program. They don't embody it. And it's just like, just trying to get higher. And I understand that, Jeff Capel, former Duke guy, former Coach K assistant, now you're in the ACC and you're trying to do things the ACC way. It still isn't working. And for BC, they're just stuck in the mud. And you have to ask yourself, will Pitt and Boston College ever be able to restore their respective basketball traditions? And for me, right now, I think it's a long shot for both because I simply just don't see them getting it done in the ACC. I mean, you look at it, Duke and North Carolina, they're in transition periods right now. But, those programs are national brands. They're not going anywhere. And, you look at what Virginia has done, Miami, for another former Big East school, but I think Miami fits more in the ACC than a Pitt or Boston College does. Syracuse, Jim Boeheim, what are they going to do when he leaves? Because Syracuse themselves have taken a step back now that Mike Hopkins has left the program as far as their top recruiter. So I look at it, these teams chase the almighty dollar of the ACC. They got their money for football, you name it. But at the end of the day, they've lost their identity. And that is the biggest thing that is hurting Pitt. That is the biggest thing that is hurting Boston College as well. And you look at it, there was a time when Pitt meeting BC in a conference tournament was a marquee event. Thinking back to the Big East tournament, you could see Pitt and BC meeting in a semifinal match. You could see Pitt and BC meeting in a quarterfinal match, and that would mean something because you would have a good amount of each respective fan base at MSG to watch them play. But now, Pitt BC, the first game of the ACC tournament tomorrow afternoon, where nobody, or for the most part, hardly anybody rather, is going to be paying attention to it. And it just lets you know how far the mighty have fallen. Pitt and BC wanted money in the ACC. They got paid, but at the end of the day, was it worth it? Because each one of them has lost their respective basketball identity. So, folks, that is going to wrap it up. And as always, I want to take this time out to thank you for tuning into the 300 Pounds of Sports Knowledge podcast here on YouTube. I want to take the time out to thank all of you fine folks out there for tuning in. And if you have not already, please feel free to subscribe to this channel. Now, if you're on Twitter, please feel free to follow me at 300 Pounds of Sports. And like I always say, if you follow me, it'll be my pleasure to follow you right back. There's also the sports discussion group on Facebook at the Sports Depot 365. You can check it out. Drop a line and be a part of one of the better sports debating sites going on social media. So once again, fine folks, my name is William Martin. I'm signing off, saying take care and have yourselves a wonderful day.